All right, what's going on, everyone? This episode is a little bit unique. We wanted to give our audience, you guys and girls, a sneak peek behind the curtain look as to what Contractor Dynamics actually does, and more importantly, how we help our clients transform and grow through our marketing training program, through our business growth groups with my man, Benny Fisher, and really want to share some of the common denominators that we see, some of the common elements of success, some of the common blind spots that we see when we work with our roofing company clients on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, so that you guys can maybe, avoid some of those blind spots, maybe minimize some of those issues and problems and learning curves, maybe accelerate your growth, and really just get a feel for what we do here, and maybe you want to be a part of it, maybe you don't, maybe you just take some nuggets and grow on your own. That's awesome as well. But this episode is gonna be fun. So I'm here with my good friend, Mr. Benny Fisher. How are you, Benny?
Great, Joe. Thanks for having me on, man. Long time no see. Just kidding.
Absolutely. So we're on Zoom and on the phone all the time. This is like a more formal thing. I think Benny did his hair for this one too. So thank you very much. All right, so I'm going to give a little bit of a background as to Contractor Dynamics training program, real quick flyover, if you will, drone flyover, okay? Benny is actually on our leadership team here, and he's a part of our program and a part of our business and what we do with our clients. We're going to dive into that specifically. So I know that we put out a lot of content here. You guys probably see me and our team in your feeds a lot, in your social media feeds, podcasts, YouTube, and all that good stuff. I don't think we're great at really letting people know what it is that we do, right? So real quick, we are a marketing training company. So what that means is we train roofing companies on how to run their own marketing, how to build out a marketing machine inside their business, right? So they can take control over their marketing, take control over their lead gen, generating their own appointments and sales, and really taking control of the growth of their business, okay? So we train you on how to identify your ideal clients, create content, create video content, run social media ads, how to understand all the different parts of marketing, digital, social, online, offline, how to put all the pieces together in the right order, how to set up your budget, how to work with some of your marketing agency outsource partners maybe more effectively, and really how to build that core system inside your roofing company so you can continue to grow with more predictability and more consistency. So we've been doing this at Contractor Dynamics. Well, we've been in business for over 10 years. We've been doing the training part of our business for almost 4 years now. Actually, it's 4 years this month, so that's interesting. We can talk about that in another episode. And about a year ago, this good-looking gentleman came to me, and we had developed a good friendship over the past couple of years. And he's like, "Hey, I've got this, Big Fish contracting company. It's going really well. I've got a whole leadership team running it. I'm looking for more ways to kind of pour back into our market to have an impact on people and CEOs and companies. What do you say? We kind of partner up and I help you, Joe, help Contractor Dynamics, help our clients with some of the non-marketing related, challenges and issues and topics that are inevitably part of growing a business, right?" So that was back in April 2022. And it's been an awesome ride. We've got several dozen clients in our platinum training program right now that Benny is pouring into on a weekly, monthly basis. He's had a huge impact. So we want to kind of unpack that and give you guys a little bit of a, behind the scenes look on how that works. Yeah, so Benny and I, real quick, we met down at a roofing contractor event down in Texas in March 2021. Had a few days to spend together. It was awesome. Really built up a good relationship. We solidified the Facebook relationship that we already had. And back in January 2022, Benny invited me out to his annual meeting for his company, Big Fish Contracting, out in Pittsburgh. So I flew out there. Did some marketing training for their team, did some kind of personal development training the next day. And I was immersed in their company for about 48 hours, went out to dinner, had some meals, got to know the team and everything like that. And that was a real eye-opening experience for me, right? I had been in business at that point, 9 years. And it was at that point where I was like, wow, this is like a oil. I don't want to make Benny's head too big, but like this is a well-oiled machine, right? Like they're, they follow the EOS system. They've got the core values on the walls in the conference room. They've got, that sort of thing going on. But like more than just having the core values on the walls, like they really lived it. You can see that the team operating, the team of leaders. It was just this vibe, like just being in there, immersed in that, really kind of changed my mindset on what the owner of a company actually does, right? And how you can actually delegate and elevate to really work on your business and build a team, build a leadership team that runs the company. And I started drinking the Kool-Aid in a good way, and that was an awesome visit, right, Ben? Like that was cool. Thank you for having me out. That was transformational for sure.
It was transformational for us too to like have like such a big presence. Like, you've been on Facebook for a long time and everybody's kind of seen you in their feeds, and to have you at our office, I thought that was special. So it was really cool that someone like yourself would take time out of their busy schedule and spend a couple of days in Pittsburgh. I think we got caught in a snowstorm too, if you remember, right, Joe?
I almost didn't make it out. My flight got canceled. There's like a big snowstorm coming through New Jersey where I live, and I had to reroute through DC and get home. We actually had like 2 feet of snow that next, as I was like driving home. So got back to my family. Yeah, my wife was like looking up like bus schedules and rent a cars, and like basically like
She wanted you home.
She didn't want to be stranded at home with 2 kids during a blizzard.
Yeah.
So that was fun. Fun.
And you mentioned the culture, and I want to talk about that for a little bit because, my journey to becoming, a roofing salesman and then, a roofing CEO and a marketer, had some hiccups along the way. I worked in the car sales business. I dropped out of college because I couldn't sit still long enough. And I wanted to make some money. And so I started selling cars, but I would get fired from every job I had. The culture wasn't really good there, right? It was all about money. And like, if you didn't do good 1 month, they'd fire you. And that didn't really feel good, right? And I never could understand like why like we couldn't work in a better place, right? And still make money and still have a good time. And then I got, my uncle called me up in 2000, I don't know, when was it? 2010. So 13 years ago. And I was living in Canton, Ohio. And my uncle was just starting a commercial roofing business. He had been in commercial roofing for 20 years, I think, at the time, and he's ready to go out on his own. He'd been running for about a year, and he said, "Hey, I need some help in sales and marketing." He's like, "Would you want to come over to Pittsburgh?" I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds like a cool adventure." Like Canton, Ohio is kind of small. Pittsburgh sounds like a cool city. I'm a Browns fan, but I'll go into Steelers country. And so I really learned what small business was all about, right? I learned, what roofing was all about, and no one's ever going to mistake me as an actual hardcore roofer, but I got to hang out with some hardcore roofers. And my uncle was a hardcore roofer. And I got to learn how to estimate and how to take care of, job sites and project manage and read blueprints. And I remember sometimes I'd have to run a piece of metal 2 hours away to a job site. Sometimes I'd have to sell a $200,000 job. Sometimes I'd have to sell $1 million job. And I didn't really know what I was doing, but, I followed my uncle along and he kind of showed me the way. And we didn't use a lot of technology. And in Pittsburgh, because the winters are bad and he didn't really want to scale too big, right? I would have to stop selling roofs like in October. And then I'd be bored and I'd be looking on the computer for better ways to do my job, right? And I saw things like Eagle View and I was like, wow, can we use that? And he's like, no, why do I got to pay you to measure? If I'm paying you to measure roofs, why do I need a piece of software? I'm like, well, because it'll make me go faster and I can sell more roofs. Then we got to hire more people. I'm like, yeah, well, isn't that the point? And, it was kind of a little bit of back and forth with him to try to get him to kind of come on the technology side. And then I got bored again one year and I started going down the social media path and really started learning Facebook. And as I got involved in the local business community and I would go to the Chamber of Commerce because, I was also the marketing guy. So I'm like, well, back then, the only thing I thought of, I got to go to Chamber of Commerce meetings. I got to hang out with other small business owners and I got to help them with their Facebook and help them with their Facebook pages. And I got a lot of joy out of that because somebody was coming to me because I had a special skill or a knack for something, and that felt really good, right? And then I started listening to a guy named Gary Vee, on YouTube, and I was like, wow, this is cool. This guy's saying some good stuff. And about 5 years into this journey, I was doing really good, but me and my uncle parted ways, right? And because he said that I should go sell roofs for someone else. I think I had too many ideas. I had too much energy maybe. And instead of going to sell roofs for somebody else, I said, why not I take everything I learned about roofing and small business, take everything I've learned, my career in sales, mix it with this new marketing and this Facebook and the social media, and let's poof out a baby called the Big Fish Contracting Company. And so for like the last 7.5 years, almost 8 years, I have been building the company with brand in mind first. I had actually started a Fisher Marketing LLC in 2013, 2 years before Big Fish Contracting was birthed, because I ended up, invoicing some of these small businesses in town for Facebook services. Kind of like reminds me of your story, Joe, a little bit of how you kind of started, on Facebook and started helping people with their Facebook marketing.
Yeah, it's one of those things. You're right. You do get joy out of helping people like understand things and then ultimately get the result that they want. It's really cool. And I never considered myself a teacher, but my mom was a teacher for so many years. My sister was. I never was in like a school or anything like that. But like ultimately, I think that's what really like, lights me up and gets me excited, is helping people like really understand things and implement and get the results. So yeah, that's such a cool story.
The hard part was after I started the company, and then I started hiring people, and I couldn't figure out how to make money because it was good while I was by myself, except I was wearing all the hats, and then I got burnt out. And then we can get into that, some of the pitfalls, but a lot of the things that I learned came from I joined a small mastermind in Pittsburgh, and I learned a lot of cool things about business. I joined a country club to hang out with some other guys, and then I started going to roofing conferences and events. And that's when I really started to change my business around. And then when you met me, I had I was in EOS for after like a year. And now it's been over 2.5 years, and I'm completely out of the day-to-day. My new business partner who came on 2 years ago is the integrator, and he kind of runs the show. He's the president of the company. And I get to attend a marketing meeting once a week. I do a leadership meeting, an hour and a half a week. And then I do a same page meeting with some of the people on my leadership team every other week, and that's it. And I do quarterly planning meetings all day, and I do podcasting, and I help you, and I've been loving it, man.
You truly do love, like, we had our leadership meeting last week. I think the word that I used to describe you was joy. Like, you bring joy to like every situation. So it's really cool to see you operating with in your unique ability, on a regular basis. Like that's awesome.
That's what you can do when you apply the skills and the tools, and you learn things, and you can kind of make your vision become a reality if you just stay disciplined and follow the process. And it is possible. And I'm living proof, and I do every day I wake up. I love every single thing I do. My calendar's still packed full of stuff to do. It's not like I'm sitting on a beach somewhere. I love pouring into the industry that helped me so much. I mean, the roofing industry changed my life, and I will be forever grateful for it. And so, like, to be able to help, we have over 50 clients right now in the Platinum program, and I know we can take on probably another 30 or 40 this year. So it'll be exciting to finish out this year and see where the growth is going to take you at Contractor Dynamics.
Yeah. I mean, hey, man, or not you, the ladies and gentlemen listening to this, watching this, that's part of the reason I hang out with Benny, and that's we built this friendship, which is a real genuine, great friendship, because I see the life that he's living. I love my life as well, but I'm looking to delegate and elevate to be in that position. And same thing, I don't want to sit on the beach and drink pina coladas either. I will never retire. I love this game. I know there's frustrating days, there's challenges or problems. There's times when I want to quit just like everyone else, right? But ultimately I do love this. So it's a matter of just continuing to learn new things, to grow, to be able to impact more people. And Benny is helping me do that as kind of a peer mentor, and helping our clients do that as well through our program. So
I want to say one more thing about you, Joe. You helped me be even more consistent in the micro. I really consider myself a really consistent macro person, but you help me stay consistent in the micro. You help level up my accountability. You help actually level up my leadership, even keep me on top of my social game. As much as I thought I was good at social media, I'm like, wow, Joe Hughes is so consistent. And I think that's why everybody's attracted to you. So I feel like it's a good 1-2 punch.
Yeah, dude, that's interesting. You said that about the social game. I actually just had a call today with a marketing consultant who was helping me to be, to level up my social media game as well. So hey, we never get there, right? We're always learning and we're always improving. That's one of our core values, continually learning and improving. So yeah, appreciate that. I'm glad it's been a good symbiotic relationship to throw out.
I can't imagine
Great.
it going. I actually can't imagine it going any better. Sometimes it almost seems too good to be true. And I'm not actually just saying that. It's like in life, relationships are tough. You got your spouse, you got your business partners, you got your employees, your leadership team, you got other side deals that you may have going on right now, and everybody knows those struggles when one person's going this way, another person's going this way. But I think it took a couple months for us to kind of find the flow, but we trusted each other. We're following the process, right? We really are committed to that EOS process, right? The book Traction and Rocket Fuel. And I'm a stickler for it. And I know you are too. And when everybody knows their roles and responsibilities, man, it makes things so much easier.
Yeah, it really does. What you just said reminded me of what my wife says all the time when she says, I couldn't imagine it going any better than it is. Just kidding. It's great, but it is. I mean, hey, Benny and I are not like business partners, but there's a lot of partnerships out there, and like it is kind of a marriage, right? When you're, we have a small leadership team, and you have to have those hard conversations. You have to hold one another accountable, be transparent, open up. Like that's where the real magic happens in business relationships. So yeah, it's been good. Benny mentioned that he started with a local mastermind group and country club and things like that. My journey, when I started out 2013, for the first 3 years of Contractor Dynamics, I, for some reason, had this crazy belief that like my business model was unique, right? And therefore I need to go figure out everything on my own. Yeah, like I've always been a voracious reader of books. I got books all over my desk here that you can't see. I shoved them out of the way, but a bit of a voracious reader and blogs and things like that. But I never really maybe it was ego, maybe it was pride. I don't really know what it was. It was so long ago. But it really wasn't until like 3 years into my business journey that I got my first business coach. His name's Tim. And I was like, holy cow, like I don't have to figure out everything on my own. Like, Tim's 10 years older than me. He's no longer my coach. But he's been there and done that. He's sold some companies. He had marketing agencies. I'm like, wow, I can tap into like some experience and expertise of others. Right. And that really like opened up my mind, and there's always mistakes we're going to go through, right? And things we're going to learn, blind spots are going to hit us like, upside the head when we're not expecting it. But just like being able to like kind of bounce things off other people or, learn from others' experience, it doesn't need to be a business coach, right? It can be an inner circle. Like, Benny's part of my inner circle. I have a couple other people that I consult with on a regular basis when it comes time to making those big decisions, right? Or, when I'm stuck in my own head and I can't get out of my own way, like there's certain people that I'll call or I'll text. I have a business coach as well, mastermind groups and things like that, right? And we all need that, even if it's not a formal relationship. Like this day and age, you have access to podcasts, you have access to YouTube channels. Like there's, we have access to all this knowledge out there. And I would encourage you not to try to grab things from all different directions. Like I'm more of a fan of focusing on, one or two people or three people that I really like identify with or style and things like that. But don't try to figure it out all alone. And that's not a sales pitch for what we do or anything like that. Like seriously, like tap into the experience and expertise of others, because life is too short to figure out everything we need to figure out on our own, right? Guys, so we're going to dig into like the nuts and bolts of what we do and how Benny specifically works with our clients. Before I get into that, I just want to paint you a picture of our training program here at Contractor Dynamics. It's called the Platinum Marketing Training Program. It's a 12-month program, and we heavily focus on one-on-one training, marketing training. So our ideal client is a roofing company that's established, that has a marketing manager in-house or someone in-house in the company that's doing marketing consistently focused on that we can train up and we can be by their side week in and week out and really like be the co-pilot for, what they're doing, right? They can bounce ideas off of us. We've got a whole private Facebook community of roofing company owners and marketing managers. We're in there answering questions and cheering one another on every day. We've got a whole online university of step-by-step videos and examples, or everything from Facebook ads to how to like script out and shoot videos, basic video editing. There's other things in there as far as like how to build a marketing plan, how to build a marketing budget. There's a lot of stuff in there. So all day, every day, our training team of amazing, like we got some awesome rock star marketing trainers on our team. They are pouring into our clients, helping them build out their marketing. And as I said earlier, Ben came in about a year ago. And the structure we have with Ben is every client that we bring on, they hop on a one-on-one call with Ben right out of the gate. We really want to get clear on like, hey, where you're at. Ben can dive into more of that in a minute. Where you're at, what your goals are, so that we can begin to, formulate a game plan for helping you achieve what it is you want to achieve, right? And then beyond that one-on-one call, that initial kind of like get to know you call, what we do or what we've done is we've broken up our clients, and this is really for the owners, right? This is the roofing company owners that we have inside our training program. The marketing managers are the ones getting trained by our training team. These groups with Benny are our business growth groups are for the owners, right? We've broken up our owners into groups of about 8 or 10, and we have pods. So every month we do a 2-hour focus call with each group, where sometimes Benny will have a topic pre-planned out, but majority of the calls are really going around the horn and IDSing. For those of you who are EOS nerds like us, identifying, discussing, and solving issues right there on the call, right? So it could be anything from, I'll let Benny dive into that. I don't want to, talk too much here. This is Benny's show. But we're really going through and identifying some of those. Sometimes they're tactical, sometimes they're mindset, sometimes they're more like personal issues that manifest themselves into the business, right? And we built up an awesome community. Ben's a great facilitator of these calls. Really, just a nice tight-knit mastermind of owners that you can depend on in a safe, trusted environment to get a lot of your questions answered. So that's really where Ben comes in, these monthly group growth calls, because, we all have gotten to a certain point of success, but we all know that, what gets us here or what got us here isn't necessarily what's going to get us to that next level, right? A lot of times it's that mindset. It all starts with that mindset of like, how do I think about my business in a different way than I've been thinking about it up until this stage? So, Benny, when we get a new client, we have a whole process for pinging you and in Slack, and we have a sheet and everything like that. You guys reach out, schedule that one-on-one call. I know those calls are a little bit different depending on, the relationship that you may have with that, that client, but what do those calls look like? Like, what are you hopping on there? What are you looking to achieve with that initial game plan call?
Yeah, really, it's first of all to get to know them. Some of the clients, I obviously do know since I get to, hang out and go to a lot of events and conferences in the roofing industry, or maybe some of the guys follow me on social media, but I want to go a little bit deeper, right, on who that person is, where they came from. I want to hear their origin story, how they got into roofing, where their journey is on their way to being CEO, and figure out how many people are on their leadership team, figure out what their goals are. I try to get them to dream a little bit, figure out what their why is. And some guys will say, well, my why is because I got, 2 kids and I want to hand the business to one day, or I want to go, retire and, farm the rest of my life. Some guys are like, I want to make $100 million, and, and all the goals and dreams are all over the place, right? Because again, we're all unique human beings. And I try to figure out what that big, long 10-year, 20-year, depending on how old the client is. Sometimes we have 25-year-olds, it's a little bit harder for them because they're not really thinking about, what's ahead when they're 35. I know I wasn't. But then you get the guys that are in their 40s and they're starting to really think a little bit more of what's going to be down the path. And my goal is always to try to just ask questions, to kind of dig a little deeper and really figure out what motivates them every single day. Why do they want to build an amazing company? Because that's how it's going to shape everything. Their personal goals with their personal life is what's going to shape their business goals. And when we can work that all the way backwards, and again, that's how you're going to build out a marketing plan and a branding plan. And everything matters because you can save a lot of money and save a lot of mistakes by knowing where you're going. So that way you can put the focus on. So, it's a 30-minute call. Sometimes, listen, I've had that, unfortunately, I'll never forget. I had one guy, he was younger, and it was late at night. And I took the call because, I like to work. So it was 7:00. I ended up talking to him until 10 p.m. Now that is not typical. So if you expect to get me for 3 hours, don't expect it. But he needed a little bit more help because he was just getting started, and he saw Joe Hughes, and And at first I was like, man, I don't know. I said, you're going to be wearing too many hats. And not every client's the most perfect client for our program, right? We kind of talked about that earlier, but I really just want to make sure that, we can be successful, not only as my group, but the marketing trainers, right? Like I want to make sure that overall, like I care about the entrepreneur's journey. First and foremost, even regardless of what Contractor Dynamics is all about, what Big Fish, what Big Fish and what I'm trying to do with BennyFisher.com, like that doesn't matter to me. Really, it matters about them and like where they want to go. And I firmly believe that I can help someone go wherever they want to go. And it may not be where I want to go, but I can still help solve that gap, right? And then we can also then focus on the gains on your way there. And that's what I'm excited about. I love doing it every month. I look forward to those calls. They're always so different. We're building community. That's what helps me. I mean, that's how I met you, Joe, right? Through community. And we start the network, and then we have, we're building camaraderie with each other. And like the longer that you're in the group, especially after like month 6 and 7, we're starting to really see guys really starting to talk on their own, right? Before it was just like, oh, everybody would just talk to me and Joe. Well, now they're starting to talk to each other, and that's really exciting. And that's where the real growth comes from being able to pick up the phone, calling one of your other buddies, on the team and saying, hey, I got this issue with my CRM. Like, I know you use that CRM. How can you help me? Or, hey, there's this new software that came out in the roofing industry. I hear you're killing it with it. Can you help me implement it? And those are the kind of relationships that we're building. When we go to conferences and events and we see each other, we go to dinner together, right? Like you're building that community because there's a lot of people in a lot of markets that don't really want to share information. And that's not like at Contractor Dynamics, for whatever reason, Joe, the clients that you've attracted, we are all so growth minded that we just want to share as much information as possible. We really keep it tight to the group. We're not sharing everybody's secrets everywhere, right? It stays in our little inner circles, and it's working really well. And like you said, IDS, we try to solve one big issue, one big pressing, hairy issue every month for you. And you have, whoever shows up for the calls, there could be 4 guys in the call, there could be 10 guys in the call, but we're going to go around that horn and you're going to hear from all the people and all the different experience levels on any issue, all the way from, if you do have questions about big macro marketing issues, right? All the way to accounting issues, leadership issues, sales issues, operations issues, customer service issues, people issues, right? Most of our issues are people and process. And they're all the same, we all have the same issues. And I can promise you that there's people in the group that have been through that, or we can help navigate those, or we know someone outside of the group that we can connect you with. Right. And that's what I love about Contractor Dynamics and the group that we're building.
Yeah, that was awesome. For sure. Yeah, they are special. So you have that one-on-one call. We have the group calls every month. We're going through issues. You mentioned like not every client is an ideal fit for us. And we don't really lose that many clients. We don't really have to fire that many. But like when we do lose a client, like we're not trying to like hold on to them or whatever. Like, if it's not a good fit, it's not a good fit. We want them to succeed no matter what. Like you said, like if they're with us or not.
Yeah, I would say like couple like if you're like just getting started out and and you love Joe Hughes, if you've seen Benny Fisher and you just want to be bros with us, like be bros with us in the Facebook, like in the Facebook groups. Joe's got a Facebook group that we can hang out in. We can see each other at events and conferences. But like if you're out hustling, you're trying to sell roofs, and then you're trying to project manage, and you're also have a family, and you're also like, it's a lot, man, because even the marketing trainers, I'm 2 hours a month. Like everybody can handle 2 hours a month, right? That's easy. But the work that you have to do with the marketing trainers, right, where it's the one-on-one calls, they even have group calls, open office hours where they do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Like if you're not in there, if you're not going through the course, if you're not doing the homework, if you're not actually putting into action like what they're teaching you, you're never going to get gains, right? So like, when you're just starting out, that may be a tough spot at Contractor Dynamics, right? Because you're not going to be, it really is training. You're not paying for this is not marketing dollars. This is training dollars. So, for some of you out there that understand how to put this on your balance sheet and your profit and loss and stuff like that, on your profit and loss, not your balance. See, I'm not an accountant. I shouldn't talk like that. So but on your profit and loss, like it's not really a marketing expense. Contractor Dynamics, the fee that you pay to join our group, to me, is not a marketing expense. It's a training expense. It's no different than if you buy a course, or if you buy, you go to a conference, you're putting in that bucket of like learning and education, right? Because this ROI that you'll get, to me, is infinite, because what you learn in even year one it doesn't like go away if you're the one that's learning it. I mean, you're going to use that and compound on it and stack that, and you're really going to have more accelerated growth. So to me, like Simon Sinek says, it's infinite growth.
Yeah, it really is. And we were just talking about that before we hit record today. We have kind of two buckets, I would say, of ideal clients. You want to talk about them a little bit?
Yeah. I would say, and this is on average, don't hold me to this. If you're awesome and you think you can join, let's book a call. I'm like, well, let's see if it makes sense. But I would say if you're a guy that's, or a girl that's doing 3, 4, 5 million a year in revenue, you really understand operations really well. You're getting some salespeople, you're getting things moving. You probably don't have all your accounting figured out. It's okay, but I would say that that's a big deal to know your numbers. And you're really figuring out like, hey, I need to really learn marketing because like I need more leads from my guys, right? I need to create a machine. I'm tired of paying, for Home Advisor and Angie's List and Yelp and, all these, transactional type of lead services, right? Or the guy that's in your DM saying, hey, could you use 20 more leads? And, you were desperate. So you signed up and, you have no idea what they're doing. You keep paying the bill. You're like, the leads suck, right? Like you really want to take control of your own brand and create leads that are going to just keep coming in forever. The best lead is a referral lead, right? We can teach you how to create those and keep that top of brand awareness, with social media, video content creation. So that's the first kind of person that's really ready. That's at the tipping point to kind of break through. They're ready to start hiring some leaders in each department. They're ready to become CEO. They're tired of like doing all the day-to-day stuff. That's the first client. The second client are the guys that have already got past that stage, that 5 million stage, and they're probably over 10 million, right? And these are the guys that are really living a good life, right? You guys know who you're out there. You guys have been really successful in the roofing industry. You guys probably been doing it for 10, 15, 20 years. And you just want to make sure that your team has a good trusted source to never get screwed. And like, while you're doing whether you're hanging out on the beach, whether you're, donating money in Africa, whether you're writing books, you're going to conferences, speaking on stage, whatever you do for fun. And like, you don't want to worry about your team because marketing's always changing, man. That's the why I love it. That's why it's so fun, but that's why it's also so difficult, right? That's why a lot of you guys are having pain right now is because marketing is changing as fast as the world's changing. People's attention spans keep changing, right? And what people are interested in changes. And so does your marketing message and the way you distribute content. And so sometimes like I will always want to have a good coach or a good trusted advisor, someone like the Contractor Dynamics team to be able to just call up and say, hey, what do I do here? What do I do here? And we're so much more than just, teaching you how to really do good video content on Facebook. There's so much more. And I know a lot of people think that, Joe. That's why I wanted to bring that up because, you're the Facebook guy, right? Because that's where you're seeing the most. But listen, I'm a macro marketing guy. Like I do all kinds of different marketing in my company. And I think that we can help like those kind of clients, the over 10 million. I mean, we have an $80 million contractor in our program, right? Yeah. Like that is not by accident. Those guys are super smart. They know how important it is to have consistent training for their people, right? It might not be for them anymore, and that's fair, right? You may know it all, right? You might be saying, oh, what's this little Benny Fisher guy going to be able to help me with? You're probably right. I always learn from everybody. I think I'll be learning the rest of my life, but there's always things that are changing in business, man. And you want to stay up to date on the latest and greatest in the roofing world. You're going to love Contractor Dynamics. I sound like a commercial now, but
yeah, you do.
Sorry. Sometimes I get excited.
Today we have a special offer for you.
There's no offers.
No offers. You're totally right. Like I was thinking about how I learn from people. Like I had a call with that marketing consultant today. Like he's a freelancer. Doesn't have a big business, but he's got a very, what's that Liam Neeson and that movie Taken? Like I have a very particular set of skills, right? And guess what? If I want to stay sharp, then I've got to, like you said, marketing is changing. Facebook ads, for example, I know, we're not just the Facebook ads guys, but like that's an example of something that is changing constantly. Like it used to be so easy. I used to run our own Facebook ads myself. It was so easy. Now it's a little bit harder. Like there's a lot going on there. So I had a consult with him like, hey, what's like, what are you seeing? So I can absorb some of that. we can, test it out. We can train our clients on it. So yeah, like a big $80 million company, they've got a lot of things figured out, right? But they don't have that specific marketing expertise, right?
Well,
Or
yeah.
like,
And here's the other thing with some of these guys that have been around. So here's the downside of being around 15, 20 years or 100 years. Well, if you're still doing the same old marketing like that you were doing 10 years ago and you've never changed and you're doing $100 million, guess what? There's so much upside. Like there is so much upside that we can help you with, man. Like it is incredible because like I'll never forget, man. Cause like sometimes I'm thinking like, wow, like sometimes I look at these other guys in the industry. I'm like, wow, I'm not doing enough, right? We're cracking over $10 million. And when I compare myself to $100 million contractor, I'm like, wow. But then I realized, well, they've been at it for 100 years and time in the market, will, really help that. Right. But imagine
yeah,
time in the market with consistent media coverage, always about your company. Right. Instead of just having to run billboards all the time or rely on, I call it like the Uber Eats is like the Google ads, right? Like, the transactional stuff that you have to pay big money for. And as soon as you pay for it, it just disappears. Right. So what are
yeah.
you going to do? How are you going to market to the customers you've already had? Right. We can teach you that, and so there's something for everybody to learn, I think. And I think all people, all of different walks of life and different sides of business can get value out of this. And especially for those marketing managers, man, like that's going to go forever. They might not want to hang out with me and you, Joe, all the time, but that marketing man, that's what the program was all about in the beginning. We kind of just added my part on as kind of a throw it in because we want to have some fun type of deal, right?
Winning is fun, right?
Yeah.
I mean, certainly, like if you're a roofing company, you have a marketing manager, you're looking to hire a marketing manager. Like we have people that reach out to us all the time, not all the time, but like regularly, right? In my DMs, like, hey man, I just hired a marketing manager. She starts actually today. I was talking to one of our clients that it's going to start. He's going to start in 2 weeks. He's got a marketing manager starting on Monday, which is a few days from now. And he's like, when do you recommend that I, put her in your program? I was like, well, why don't you give her a week, get her acclimated to the company, the culture. I'm sure there's things that you want to train her on. And like, we'll start with her the following Monday. He's like, awesome. That's a, for me, it's a no brainer, right? Like you have this marketing manager in your roofing company. You as an owner don't have the expertise on how to train him or her. You don't have the time. Well, guess what? We got a whole freaking army of people here that can help him or her, on a weekly basis. So absolutely. Now I'm starting to sound like a commercial, but I really do like it's.
We're giving them
like,
the inside, man. That's all. We're giving them all the different things that like come at us, right? Like all in one show. So I mean, listen, it's not for everyone, but if something that you resonated with sounds good, like talk to me or Joe, and like let's see if it makes sense because it's so diverse. The group is so diverse. We have people that are more accounting minded, like more operationally minded, more like organized. And then we have crazy guys like me that are more big vision and like sales and marketing. And there's guys in between, and we have ladies in the group, and it's
we got some rock star women in roofing.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned numbers a couple of times. One of the things that I want to kind of drill down into, just a couple of the things that we do help with on these calls. This year, we've been diving really into the numbers, not necessarily the accounting numbers. I don't want to scare people away, but like on these group growth group calls, how many, what's your target? Like, what's your goal for this year? How many leads do you need to hit that goal, right? Because a lot of times, and hey, I've been guilty of this in the past. Hey, I want to do 10 million this year. That sounds awesome. I'm just going to put that down. January 1st, I'm all pumped up. That sounds great. You get to the end of the year and like, you're at 4 million or whatever you're at, and there's no like, all right, well, how many appointments do I need? How many sales do I need? How many leads do I need to get there? What are the daily activities that I need to do or that we need to do as a company in order to get us there? Which is something that we do here at Contractor Dynamics now. Thankfully, it's much more sane a way of operating a business. So talk about that a little bit. Like we started that in January this year. Just, how important it is to know those numbers.
It's really important to know those numbers, and it's really hard to get past $3 million, $4 million in sales and not know your numbers. Now you can hustle, you can cowboy your way to 3, 4 million. I know some of you guys listening have done that. Kudos to you. I was one of those guys too. And then I was like, why the heck am I not making any more money? Right. And then I started to have to focus on not only financial numbers, but it's like, then like Joe said, like, cool, I want to do 6 million. All right, well, what's my average job size, right? What's my closing rate on those, right? Like how many leads do I need to get? Well, then, all right, cool. So now I want to do that. Well, how many people do I need now to add to my organization? And we talk about all this, and everyone's at a different stage in their business acumen life, right? Like most entrepreneurs that I'm dealing with in these groups, if you're anything like me, we dropped out of college. Maybe we never even went to college because like it just wasn't for us. But then you got the college guys that like learn so much stuff that like they don't know how to hustle sometimes and get it moving, right? And then there's the guys that are just awesome at both, right? And you guys are awesome. Please call me. I need help, right? But those things and everything in between, like the how to get a goal and work backwards. And it's not just numbers sometimes. We talk about numbers because that's where you have to start, but it's like, all right, what people do I need? All right, when I get too many, like when I get more than 4 or 5 salespeople, all right, man, I'm going to probably need a sales manager, right? Because like if you're like no one's leading the people, right? If I have more than 4 or 5, 6 people in operations, someone's going to have to run operations, right? And those are the two biggest things that I see these owners getting stuck in is when they grow and they got 3, 4 million, they got 5 or 6 guys in ops, 3 or 4 salesmen. They're still managing all these people. And there's a big shortage of what I call leadership and then management in the roofing industry. And that's because, again, a lot of us just started from scratch, just doing the best we could. And we just keep learning on the fly. But no one ever taught us how to be a leader. And no one ever taught us how to manage. And no one really taught us how to work backwards from a goal plan. So we cover all that. And the cool thing is there's a lot of smart guys in our group and they can all help too. So
yeah, there are, man. There's some like surprising, right? There's guys that have all sorts of things figured out, man. Phil's got a whole training built out, all the processes in the business, and other guys are super sharp with the numbers. Some sales beasts in our group. Like, man, we got some really good stuff going on.
Chris up in Michigan, he's like a spreadsheet wizard, man, and he's and he knows how to do all the integrations and all the tech stuff and. Yeah, and then we got a guy like Toby who's really good at culture, and like everybody's like just beating to the drum, and yeah, there's so many awesome people in our community, and it's great. Oh, and Lee
Lipniskis,
well, yeah, so out of Colorado. She's got a really good operational and, finance mind, and she understands numbers really well, but she needs a little help with marketing and sales, right? And so like we go to her for some stuff and she comes to us for some stuff. And that's what I love about the community, right? Like we're all feeding off of each other. And again, it's 2 hours a month, for our group. And we put it on a calendar. You always know when it's coming a month ahead of time. So hopefully you can plan your calendar around it. That's another thing that we could talk about, Joe, because one of the other biggest struggles that I find for these budding CEOs, and even some of you CEOs after a $10 or $15 million company, your calendars are a train wreck. Like you don't know exactly what you're doing. You're still putting out fires. Emergencies are coming up. You're canceling stuff. You're never feeling like you're getting traction. We talk about calendar management a lot, right? Because that's one reason that I've been able to kind of just live free. And like, that's why I'm so happy and so joyous is because I got my calendar dialed in. I have a quarterly meeting. I understand what my priorities are. I don't put things on my calendar that I don't want to do. I have other people handling customers and employees, right? Like, that's a dream come true to most of you. I can show you how to do that, right? There's a process for that. It doesn't happen overnight though. You can't just click your fingers and just throw everything at your team and hope that they're just going to grow on their own. I'm very involved in my company. I might not put as many hours in the day to day anymore, but I know everything that's going on at a high level because everyone's taking care of everything at the middle level and down. So it is possible, to be able to spend time with your family, do what you love to do, make a bunch of money doing it, give back, make an impact, and get as much out of your life as you want.
It's true. I'm going through that now. We doubled the size of our team this year. I'm trusting the process. I'm trusting Benny when he's like, hey, you got to trust me. Hire this executive assistant, right? It'll change your life. Okay.
Oh, those are the best. That's a superpower. The executive assistant. Some of you guys, if you just hired 2 or 3 executive assistants, it would change your life.
Yeah. We're working through. We're like day 45. It's going great so far. It's awesome. But like hiring people in advance, like we hired someone the other day. She doesn't start for another month. Like just getting into that rhythm and just getting comfortable with hiring, right? Because I think one of the things that a lot of people can resonate with is working hard, right? Like I grew up in my family's construction business since I was 14. It was my first job. I started working out in a shipyard in Brooklyn, New York. Like, so I want to talk about hard manual labor in some crazy weather conditions, hot summers, freezing cold, icy cold winters. So I developed a really strong work ethic, which ultimately is awesome, but it can also be a detriment because when something needs to get done, I'm like, man, give me a coffee. I'm going to slam a coffee and just get it done, right? Like I'm going to go to work. But hanging out with Benny and like really understanding the EOS process is like, well, this thing in the business needs to get done. All right. So the next step is let's figure out who's going to do it because it's not going to be Joe. Right. So it's a real big mindset shift because we do get to that point where we can't work any more hours or we don't want to because we've got families and we want to, pay attention to our health and work out and do different things. Right. So it's like, all right, well, this thing needs to get done. Who's going to do it? It's not going to be the owner. And that's a huge mindset shift that I'm still going through right now. And that's something we help our clients with as well. So,
yeah, I mean, I could speak to that a little bit. Dan Sullivan wrote a book, Who Not How, right? And a lot of us, I grew up the same way, Joe. I mean, like I'm not probably working as hard as you did. My family didn't have a shipyard and I wasn't doing all that hard, crazy work, but we worked hard and we always did it ourselves, right? Like it was always do it yourself mentality. And that serves a purpose until it doesn't serve a purpose anymore until you get bored, right? Not bored, but like just like burnt out of just keep like doing the same thing over and over again and not feeling like you're getting anywhere. We call that reactive, right? Like you're always reacting to the situation. You're always reacting to customers. If you have a small team, you're always reacting to the employees, right? Or you could be proactive and take this approach that I've learned through the book Rocket Fuel and Traction and EOS and kind of think ahead, right? Be more visionary, plan ahead, right? Kind of see like what the 10-year plan is, the 3-year picture, the 1 year, the 90 days, right? What are we doing this week to get there? And it sounds perfect, right? You guys all know that, right? Like you got a lot of you guys know it, right? There's the knowers. And then there's the doers, and then there's the masters, right? And I think it really just takes, you need permission to do it, right? A lot of you just need permission to go do that because it kind of feels awkward and weird, but it's going to be hard either way. So like I still work hard. I work just as hard as you do. I mean, if you saw my calendar and you talk to my executive assistants and you talk to Joe and you talk to Rob, who runs my company, like, I don't know. I think I work more than anybody. Like I really do.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm doing a lot of stuff because I love it. I'm on the front side now instead of the back side. And it's still hard. So it's like, do you want to be drinking out of the fire hose or do you want to be shooting the fire hose? Like what side of the fire hose do you want to be on?
That's a real, no, it's true. Like, and this year we're 4 months into 2023. Like, I feel like I put in a full business year already in 4 months. And it's because like I'm focused in my calendar every day on like pretty, important things, right? Yeah, of course there's urgent things. Of course there's things that need my attention, right? I'm still very involved in different aspects of our business, very, very involved. But at the end of the day, like, every week I have my top 3 to 4 priorities, 3 to 5 priorities. Every day I'm working on like, pretty significant things, not in the course of like, not in the scheme of like, the world, but like in our business and the people that we impact, like, yeah, it feels good. And I'm exhausted at the end of every day too. Like, it's like in a good way, so.
And for some of you guys out there listening that like think that like, oh, wow, that's impossible. That's a pipe dream. I thought the same thing, but that was the dream though. Even when I was like 10 or 12 years old, when I would hear my parents complaining about the job they were doing and not making enough money and keep doing the same thing over and over again. I'm like, well, why don't you just try this? Why don't you go try something different? Like some of you have to just get out of your comfort zone and like trust the process and, have a little faith, and know that's why you have to have a big why. If you don't have a big why, most of us like, oh, we got to take care of our customers. Well, guess what? When you have so many customers because you're so good at taking care of them and you're the only guy taking care of them, that's not really good customer service. So change the mindset and say like, if Ben Fisher we had 112 leads last week at Big Fish Contracting. Okay. 112. I would never in a million years. I mean, I remember I remember going to a home show one time when I was by myself. I got 112 in 4 days at a home and garden show. And I only got to like 30 of them. Like, that was it. Like, and I just literally broomed the rest of them. Well, what kind of customer service was that?
Seriously.
It's not. And then we have to actually put the roofs on. Well, who's going to do all that? Like, so you have to keep delegating and elevating, right? Because guess what? you're helping other people get what they want in life, right? Because there's someone out there right now that wants to run your company and they can do it better than you, like a lot better. Trust me, I know. I'm not really that good at running a company. I'm good at leading and ideating and like figuring out who the right person is, right? And connecting relationships and making sure that the heartbeat's going and the culture. That's one of my superpowers. And if your superpower is more organization and accounting, maybe you have to find somebody more like me, right? That can keep everybody excited and going. But I tell you what keeps people excited: winning. Winning keeps people excited. Great customers keep people excited. Happy employees keeps people moving. Growth can come in so many different ways. And that's why I love helping people, man, because this has been a great industry for me.
Yeah, it kind of does, like you said, pipe dream. I was thinking of that term because it kind of can sound like that, but
I know. My mom tells me that all the time. My mom says, you make it sound so easy. Like, I don't even know who you are anymore. And I'm like, listen, 200 books later and a lot of coaching and masterminds and hanging out with higher level people.
Right.
Like, you just start thinking bigger and you start acting like that and it just starts coming.
Yeah, for sure. And sometimes you do have to have that faith to take that first step and do that first thing. But then you get that feedback loop, like, oh, I did that thing and now like it's working. All right, let me go get more of that juice, And that's one of the things like I'm going through right now. I'm actually like midway through writing a piece of content about this, is the idea that like you don't have to be good at everything in your business, right? And that has held me back. Like I've been in business over 10 years. And it wasn't until recently that I realized that like I had this false belief that I needed to be great at the bookkeeping, and the accounting and running Facebook ads or whatever it might be. Like I just hired a fractional CFO because I finally like just kind of like threw up my hands. I surrendered. I surrendered. I'm like,
yes.
I put like, as a business owner, there's things that like you do first in the day. Usually it's because they're exciting. You're good at them, right? And there's the other things that you do like at 4 p.m. on Friday because you procrastinate. Those are all the the little things, right? That we don't want to do, that we're not good at. They don't drive revenue per se. And like bookkeeping and things like that were those things for me. So I just hired a fractional CFO. And what else?
If I could hire someone to brush my teeth, Joe, I would. Like I'm being serious. Like, you have to have that kind of extreme mindset because if you can't. And again, listen, for some of you guys that want to go out and cut your grass because it's therapeutic, great. But like you have to start getting your personal self like into a mindset. Like if you're doing everything at home all the time because your dad used to do it and you're fixing all the stuff at home because your wife wants you to paint and do all that. Listen, you have to start training that muscle of how to delegate, right? Because you're giving people jobs, right? Like that's the whole reason to be an entrepreneur, I think, is like you're a job creator. So like take it serious because capitalism is still alive and we are the last hope for it to stay alive. And it depends on you, right, to take it serious.
Yeah, it's our responsibility. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I get real passionate. Sorry.
Yeah. And like we talked about that Q1 meeting out in Memphis. Like I was hesitant to tell you guys like, I want to delegate and elevate and become the visionary. And you guys, I think it was Elizabeth. She's like, hey, if you don't do that, like you're going to hold us back because we want to grow. And like Elizabeth is going to run this company someday. Like that's, the progression plan. And like, if you don't grow, then you're going to hold us back. And I'm like, well, I don't want to hold you guys back. So sometimes it takes us like, not thinking about ourselves, but thinking about others in order to like motivate ourselves into taking that action,
Yeah. And for me, like I'm a people person. If you can't tell, I love connecting with people, especially, high level entrepreneurs who want the same things that I want, right? Like, that's where I want my friend circle to be. Right. So, and when we first started this over a year ago, it was 1 client and 2 clients and 3 clients. I'm like, all right, cool. But I want more. Like, I want to hang out with more contractors. Joe, where can we get more contractors? Like, Joe, we got to grow. And so for me, selfishly, it's like, I want more people to hang out with. When I go to a conference and we go to like IRE, like I want to be able to run into like 200 contractors that I can sit and talk to. Like, I remember what it was like to go to my first conference and not know anybody and be scared to even walk in. It was overwhelming. And now when we go, It's like, hey, how you doing? Oh, hey, what's going on with this? Oh, did you see that new piece of technology? Oh, yeah, there's that booth over. Like that is like at least the fun side of it, right? Like at least like because we're like being an entrepreneur, like there's a lot of bad stuff that happens, right? There's a lot of heartache that happens, right? We can go over all that too because there's a ton of it, and we do in our groups, right? We go vulnerable, we get authentic, right? Shoot, I was crying the other day on one of the calls, man, like because there's a lot of pain too, and I think on Facebook and on Instagram, you see all the glitz and the glamour, right? And I am responsible for some of that sometimes because I think, wow, like I always show the good stuff, right? Like, and like
Same here.
sometimes, and the reason I don't show the bad stuff is because I am still running a team, and like there's a lot of people that are watching, and sometimes I feel, like, oh, they're gonna know I'm talking about them, or like, so I still can't. I can share stories with Joe and let Joe post those stories. I can do that, but yeah, you don't always believe everything you see on the social media. But in our group, we get real and raw and authentic, and everybody, all that stuff, all those secrets and the truths, they stay inside of our group because we take that seriously.
Yeah, for sure. And then like one more thing on the event thing, how cool is it to have our workshop in New Jersey last month? And, we had a bunch of clients fly in and drive in, and like we got to hang out with them in person. Like that was awesome.
There was 2 contractors from Texas. Okay. One contractor came to see you. One contractor came to see me. They saw us post about it. Now, listen, I would have never advised anybody because, again, maybe I'm too, I don't know. Like, I feel like that's a long way to come just to see like me, right? Like, I feel like and they did. They didn't even ask me. They just got on a plane, literally bought a ticket and came. And when I'm like, what are you doing here? You're like from Texas. Well, I saw you were going to be here and I wanted to be here. I was like, wow, that is very humbling. And I was like, that's just because, again, we stepped out of our comfort zone. In 2019, I started attending conferences. In 2020 is when I started taking conferences serious. I think in 2019, it was more of like a party thing for me. And like, it's fun for a minute, but then you don't learn anything. But 2020 came and I was like, wow, I was like a sponge. I was like soaking everything up. I was learning. I was meeting as many people as possible. And here we are just 3 years later. Me and Joe were at IRE, met a bunch of people. A bunch of people from there that we saw all around the country came to our workshop in New Jersey. We have previous clients that came to the workshop. You have current clients that came to the workshop. There's people that we've never met before that came to the workshop. Shoot, there was a marketing agency that came that wanted to see what we were doing so that way they could help more of their roofing companies. How special was that, Joe?
Yeah, that was cool. That was awesome. Because again, it comes down to like specialized industry specific knowledge, right? So that's what we're all about here. We're super specific, right? Yeah, that was awesome. I'm excited for other workshops. We have 3 more planned this year. Starting to sell the other one a little bit now. That's getting exciting, getting the energy going for that. We'll save that for another episode. Columbus, June 22nd, Denver, July 20th, and Orlando, November 8th. So those are the dates. For the Columbus one, it's contractordynamics.com/OH for Ohio, or O, whatever you want.
I-O. Go Buckeyes.
Yeah, we got a couple of tickets come in today. We saw the notification there, the Zapier notification light up there. That was cool.
We sold 27 tickets before you even like posted it, but we haven't even posted it publicly yet. We're recording this on May 4th. We yeah, that thing's going to sell out before you know, because we're only going to limit to 100 people. So
yeah, for sure.
Because we want to be able to get to know you. We want to be able to get to pour into you, right? And it's not just me and Joe either. So at the workshops, and again, we can do another podcast on the workshops, but
for sure. We'll get more into that. But let's land this plane here. Let's land this drone here. Really kind of wrap it up. Got to stick with my analogy, right? What makes Contractor Dynamics program unique is like we have a proven roadmap for success. That's, for the marketing managers, the whole marketing training program. Benny has a proven roadmap for success, building his company to where he's built it. So you're getting, hands-on guidance from someone who is, in the trenches, running a roofing company, maybe not in the details every day, but running a roofing company from a high level. We've got our personalized, focused one-on-one training. So like, we're not throwing our clients into a big old group and like, you're just a number. Like you're one-on-one with one of our marketing trainers. Like we are locking arms. Like we are working with you hand in hand every week. week, building some amazing relationships. One of our marketing trainers is going through some personal family issue right now, and one of our clients reached out to me and emailed me yesterday. I was like, hey, I want to send her, a little care package. Do you have an address? Like, that's amazing. Like, one of our clients is like going out of her way to send a care package to like our marketing trainer. It's amazing. So we got that personalized aspect. We got the monthly group leadership calls with Benny that we've gone through today, and we've got this like really special community that we're brewing. That is that's really just something special. So those are the 4 aspects of contractor dynamics that really make us unique. We're going to start talking about more and more of them because those are we want to attract the right people. We don't want everyone. We want the right people in our ecosystem. So Benny, I really thank you for sharing and opening up today. I know we can go for like another 6 hours, but anything else you want to kind of share as we wrap it up here?
Yeah, just know, I mean, like, listen, like Joe said, this ain't for everybody, and the Joe puts out so much great content. You could really, if you really put the time in, you could learn so much just from listening to all the podcasts, checking out his Facebook lives, right? Reading his content. But if you really want to get that full immersion, that attention, right? That inside access to me, Joe, Elizabeth, the full marketing training team, manager John, this is the way to do it. Joining the community would be awesome of you. You get access, you get discounts to all of our workshops when you do that. We do dinners at RoofCon, and we do get-togethers because, again, Zoom is like one thing, right? It's convenient, it's fast, you know what I mean? Like, we can compress time with Zoom, but we really are more like family, right? And we like to be able to have the live events. We like to be able to have the calls, when you need somebody to talk to, and you have that kind of access. And I think that's important, in a busy world out there where attention is like, people have like attention issues, right? Like, I have attention issues. I know that, it's hard to stay focused with everything coming at you. So here we can do like one thing really well. We can really help you just grow. We can help you with leadership, and we can help you with community. So look forward to meeting you on the inside.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you guys want to reach out to Benny or reach out to me or head on over to Contractor Dynamics, we'll put some links below and all that. You can learn more about everything that we're talking about today. So hopefully that was valuable for you guys. You got some nuggets out of it, some different ways of like thinking about your business, some things that you might want to implement in your business to become a more astute business owner and really elevate to where you want to be. We all started our business, for a reason, right? Like, tap into that why. Really get clear on that. Maybe take some time to, go sit in the woods and think about that, whatever you need to do. But like, that's a regular thing that we all need to do because we all get sucked into the micro, and it's hard to zoom out and really get perspective on why we're doing this in the first place. So what's that?
This is my Zen cat that I put on my desk. This is when I want to go to the woods, but I don't want to spend 4 hours to go there. I look at him and I got a beanbag behind me. That's my beanbag. And so I just hang out here and I shut the lights down, put some music on, and I get Zen that way.
All right. I love it. I love the visual. Good stuff. All right, guys. Well, thanks for hanging out with us today. It's been fun for us. Hopefully it's been fun for you as well. And we'll see you soon.